In this wide-ranging conversation, Mark Rober delves into his fascinating career journey from NASA Mars rover engineer to YouTube creator, innovator, and entrepreneur. The discussion touches on space exploration, engineering principles, failure and mastery, the challenges and evolution of technology, from AR/VR to robotics and AI, as well as human psychology, education, creativity, and the future of humanity. Mark shares insights from his NASA experience, innovative projects like the glitter bomb, the integration of engineering and emotional intelligence, and his views on controversial topics like conspiracy theories and AI's societal impact. Mark begins by revealing his surprising connection to NASA's Mars rover project, noting the serendipitous similarity between his name and Mars rover. As a mechanical engineer, he spent 7 years responsible for designing, testing, and integrating a section of the rover's hardware that interacts with Mars's soil, specifically the hardware that receives soil samples collected by the rover's arm. His role involved collaborative work with teams and rigorous design feedback from experts, highlighting NASA's culture of prototyping and iterative improvement. Mark marvels that parts he helped create continue functioning millions of miles away on Mars, surviving extreme conditions due to the planet's lack of oxygen, which prevents decay. The conversation shifts to the fascinating challenges of sending payloads into space. Mark explains that spacecraft achieve an initial high velocity and then coast without air resistance, requiring delicate course corrections to hit precise targets like Mars, illustrating these maneuvers' mathematical elegance and difficulty by likening a Mars landing to a hole-in-one golf shot across cities. They touch on orbital slingshots and the complexities of orbital dynamics that computers can calculate but remain challenging to humans. Mark also discusses the problem of space junk, emphasizing the necessity of tracking all orbiting debris to prevent cascading collisions. Mark references Neil Stephenson's sci-fi novel Seven Eves, praising its realistic portrayal of orbital dynamics and space habitats in a disaster scenario. This segues into a discussion about astropolitics, ownership of celestial territory, and the future legal and economic complexities of space colonization. They consider questions like who would claim Mars, the impact of asteroid mining on Earth's markets, and how such resource influxes could disrupt closed economic systems. Mark reflects on the fundamental engineering mindset learned at NASA, embracing prototypes, rapid iteration, and learning through failure. He contrasts this approach with the common mistake of trying to build perfect solutions first, instead advocating for designing multiple versions, testing to failure, and refining based on data. This mentality also informs his creative work and YouTube content creation, where failure is an essential, expected step toward success. Mark discusses the psychological relationship with failure, explaining how he embraces it both personally and in teaching kids. He likens life's challenges to video games, where each failure is a chance to learn and improve rather than a personal judgment. This gamified view encourages resilience and persistence in various endeavors, from public speaking to physical fitness, facilitating continuous mastery rather than fear of setbacks. The topic moves to the neurological aspects of motivation and success. Mark cites examples of highly driven individuals with dopamine-focused brains who constantly chase incremental improvements but may struggle with satisfaction and burnout. Using analogies like scouts in an army, they explore the costs and benefits of such high-drive personalities and the essential balance of focus versus burnout to sustain long-term productivity and happiness. Mark comments on how human brains cope better with difficulty than with complexity, noting that juggling too many tasks or complicated obligations reduces effectiveness and increases stress. He encourages focusing on fewer priorities with depth rather than spreading oneself too thin, comparing hectic schedules to overloading a buffet dish beyond one's capacity. This also ties into the importance of managing complexity in business and personal life. Mark recounts his unconventional career path, transitioning from NASA to Apple's secretive Special Projects Group working on the Apple car, with a brief entrepreneurial detour designing Halloween costumes. He discusses how his innovative ideas, including patents related to combining virtual reality with self-driving cars to solve motion sickness, emerged from this experience. Mark shares his vision of immersive car entertainment and the convergence of autonomous vehicles and VR for new user experiences. They evaluate the current state of AR and VR, noting that while initial excitement is high, devices lack a true killer app to maintain long-term user engagement. Mark suggests live sports could become a compelling use case, but acknowledges the technology has yet to fully deliver on its early promises. The conversation also touches on wearable AR glasses, making incremental progress toward practical, everyday use with features like real-time navigation and translation. Mark sees robotics paired with AI as the next wave of societal transformation, particularly in manufacturing and industrial applications rather than consumer home robots. He highlights recent advances in warehouse automation and emphasizes the economic logic of deploying robots where they yield the highest return on investment, such as factory floors, as opposed to expensive home assistants. This robotics revolution paves the way for exponential growth and transitions toward a post-human workforce dynamic. Drawing on his viral Glitter Bomb series, Mark explains his philosophy of channeling engineering creativity into entertaining, socially impactful projects. The glitter bomb was invented as a form of package theft deterrent, mixing technology and humor to create an emotional connection that drives engagement and awareness. He describes the challenges of producing viral content and how eliciting visceral emotions such as vindication or amusement fuels sharing and real-world effects, such as encouraging police action against scam operations. Mark dives into his work exposing scam phone centers in India, collaborating with cybersecurity expert Jim Browning. He contrasts the immoral nature of technology with its potential for positive impact, underscoring the role of visibility and storytelling in combating deceptive practices. Using inventive tactics like cockroach-filled lunchboxes and glitter bombs, Mark illustrates creative resistance against malicious actors, demonstrating personal agency's power through innovation and narrative. Mark elaborates on how the engineering design process, defining objectives, breaking down problems, prototyping, iterating, and refining, applies broadly to life challenges, creativity, and business. He stresses the necessity of collaboration, communication, and shared vision in executing complex projects, highlighting how emotional intelligence complements technical skills. For Mark, engaging emotions and telling compelling stories galvanizes teams and audiences alike. Mark shares insights from his work creating playful science content and a children's educational subscription box, Crunch Labs. He critiques rigid traditional schooling for failing to capture attention and inspire curiosity, contrasting it with hands-on experiments designed to hide the vegetables of learning inside fun experiences. Through videos and toys that trigger fascination and emotional engagement, Mark seeks to reignite natural childlike wonder and curiosity, planting seeds for lifelong learning. They discuss the challenges adults face reclaiming creativity and curiosity, noting how passive digital consumption crowds out the time for hands-on constructing or tinkering. Mark highlights that even adults can benefit from accessible creative experiences like the Hackpack Robot Kit, which encourages coding and playful experimentation. By reframing challenges as games or desensitizing oneself to failure and rejection, people can rebuild resilience and expand their capacity to learn and create. Mark reflects on meditation and mindfulness as tools to manage modern life's rapid pace and constant stimulation. He candidly discusses the difficulty of clearing the mind and the contrast between constant mental activity and moments of flow during creative problem-solving. Activities like washing dishes and driving can trigger creative insights, providing a natural mental break that complements more formal mindfulness practices. Mark acknowledges how AI-powered tools like ChatGPT have transformed information gathering by removing friction previously involved in searching and synthesizing knowledge. This cyborg integration reduces the need for extensive memorization, signaling a fundamental shift in how humans access and use information. The conversation explores the evolving role of AI assistants as contextualized, always-present aids potentially connected to continuous data capture via wearable devices or ambient sensors. Mark discusses contrasting perspectives on AI's future, from utopian hopes to existential worries. He recognizes incentives behind optimistic narratives, citing Sam Altman's positive outlook as influenced by vested interests. They explore challenges around AI alignment and the narrow black box nature of benevolent outcomes, emphasizing the high stakes in managing advanced AI development. Geopolitical tensions around AI innovation hubs and speculative end-of-world survival strategies illustrate the complex dynamics shaping AI's trajectory. Mark and the host muse on the Fermi paradox, the absence of visible extraterrestrial civilizations, and its possible implications, including the Great Filter hypothesis, which posits self-destruction as a common fate for advanced civilizations. They consider that discovering alien life in the solar system could be a bad sign, suggesting we have yet to bypass critical existential thresholds. Mark references scientific efforts searching for life on icy moons and contemplates the tension between cosmic loneliness and the potential perils inherent in technological advancement. Throughout, Mark and the host weave in observations about human nature, from social behaviors like roadside aggression and queuing etiquette to broader topics like conspiracy theories and political polarization. They emphasize empathy and pattern recognition as evolutionary traits often misapplied, explaining the allure of conspiratorial thinking as a psychological response to uncertainty and the need for control. The discussion also touches on the effects of anonymity in online interaction versus in-person encounters. At its core, the conversation highlights the power of curiosity, creativity, and a structured engineering mindset applied to personal growth and societal challenges. Mark advocates for active engagement, building, iterating, failing, learning, and embracing emotional connection as pathways to mastery and fulfillment. With a mix of humor, storytelling, and practical insight, he models how to engineer a life not just through technical skill, but through intentionality, resilience, and collaboration.